Hi everybody, how are you all? I hope you're all well. I can't believe July is over. This year is just going by so quickly, and July had 5 stitching weeks in it, so that means extra stitching for me. Anyway, this video going to talk about my current WIPs, my new starts, my finishes and my FFOs. And this month was actually a month of 3s. I have 3 of each, it appears. Except for my WIPs, obviously. I have 5 now because of the 5 weeks in July. I know, crazy. Okay, so we'll get started. WIP number 1 is my Lavender and Lace Celtic Autumn. And I'll insert a picture of the last time you saw her here. And this is where she is now. So just to remind you, she is stitched on 28 count mushroom Lagana. And I'm really loving this design. This month I started on the lettering of autumn. So all the spaces that you see there are for the metallics and the beads, which I do last. I like to do all the cross stitching first, and then the metallics, and then the beads last. And for doing the beading, I take it off of the frame because I did try beading on my mermaid while it was on the frame, and although it didn't crush the beads, it did move them slightly, and then they didn't feel as tight afterwards. So now I prefer to bead with the fabric in hand. So after doing the lettering, I worked on the left side of the border, which is all now complete, and then down to the right side. And I also did the back stitching line around the border there. And then I began on the little falling leaves, which are done 1/1 in petite point. I love how those turned out. So there will be beads on there as well. On the original chart, many of you may remember, there are just beads falling from her hands, but I liked the actual leaves as well. I thought it really fit in with the whole autumn concept. So for those of you, I have received quite a few comments on the colour conversions for this. I'll put a link down below to Janet Granger's blog, which is where I found the colour conversions, and she also has the chart for the falling leaves if anyone is interested. Obviously I have that, but being as that's not my design to share, I would prefer if you contacted her and asked her permission to receive the chart. So that's it for this month. Really looking forward to starting this, getting back to this one this month and filling in all the white. All this part of her dress is going to be white. So quite a bit more there to do, and quite surprising how long this one is taking, but quite a bit more left to do before I start on the metallics and the beading. So I suspect this project will be going on for a couple more months yet. Okay, next WIP, number 2, is my Blackwork Journey Save the Stitches. Really didn't feel the love for this one this month. It gave me a lot of headaches for some reason. Anyway, I'll insert a picture here of last time you saw it. And this is where I am now. I'm going to have to scroll up because of the size of this thing there. Okay, so that's where we are. Just going to fold this over. Now, you need to ignore this. I don't know where I saw that on the chart and felt the need to stitch it, but clearly that doesn't belong there, so that will need to be frogged next time this one comes out. So ignore that's there. Alright, so this month I did blocks 14 and 15, so my 2 blocks per month, which is my goal. This, which one was it? This particular block here on block 14, I frogged that 3 times. Restitched it and frogged it 3 times. I just I don't know, I just could not get the pattern to look the way it was supposed to look, and even now I'm still not convinced that it looks the way it's supposed to look, but I'm done with it. 3 times is more than enough to spend on one block. It still looks nice, still is a lovely pattern, but for some reason my particular one gives more of a square focus to it, when the others I've looked at, there's another shape that jumps out. Anyway, so finally got that one sorted, moved over to block 15, and then I had issues with this block. Yeah, so my notes just say that I just frogged and restitched that one because I had issues with that one as well. So I've gone this far in this design and not had any issues. And in the 1 month, I had major problems. Maybe I was tired, maybe I was extra stressed. Not sure. I do love this project, but it's not a favourite. I think I'm just feeling a little bit over the Blackwork right now. I love cross stitch, I can't help it. My loyalty lies with cross stitch. And it is nice to do something different. It is enjoyable to have a different challenge in my rotation. But, and this is where rotations work for me, because if I wasn't doing rotations and stitched on only what I wanted to stitch, this one would be folded up and would have been made a UFO because of the fact that I'm not feeling it. But I'm forcing myself to do it because that's what I don't like to give up on things. I like to finish what I start. And I know some of you will say, oh, I'd never force myself to stitch something that I don't feel like stitching. But I would feel equally as upset to have it put away and not touched for months at a time. So I just do my 2 blocks. I finish those within 3 or 4 days of the week, and then I reward myself by stitching something else for the rest of the week. So I'm happy. I'm happy I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, and then I get to stitch something else that's fun afterwards. So that's how it works for me. But anyway, it's such a pretty design. Anyone that's interested in doing this, I do recommend it. And I have Teresa, hi Teresa, have spoken to Teresa, who did show an interest in doing this, and I suggested that anyone that hasn't done Blackwork before, I wouldn't suggest starting this particular one for the first time, because there are, as you can see, look, there's so many blocks to this. It is a massive thing, and should you decide, you know, a quarter of the way in that it's not for you, that's a lot of money wasted. So anyone that's interested in trying Blackwork, I suggest you go to Liz Armand's site. I will link it down below. And there are heaps of freebie patterns with the Blackwork theme that you can try first and see if you like it. Because I know some of you absolutely love it. And then you can say, right, I will commit to this bigger design, and it won't faze me at all. Personally, I wish I had stitched the Box of Delights. That's a much smaller design. Some people have already finished. I know Mrs. Milky Bar Kid has just put on her blog that she's now finished that particular one, so now she's got the rest of the year to do something else, whereas I'll still be going on this one for the rest of the year. Okay, next WIP is my Heaven and Earth Designs mini Bathtime, and I will insert a picture here of last time you saw her. And as a reminder, this one is being stitched on 28 count mushroom Lagana, 2/1 continental tent stitch. And this is where I'm up to now. So I have finished the whole top row, which is 3 pages. There are 12 pages to this design. So I have 4 rows to go, and then the bottom row is a partial row. And I made a start on page 4 so you can see the edge of the bath. And although I am enjoying the continental tent stitch, I really, to be completely honest, I'm really looking forward to just going back to normal full cross stitch for my next Heaven and Earth design. And I think after seeing my blue dragon all framed and up on the wall, and just realizing how much I did enjoy stitching him, and I think a lot of that was because I didn't have to think too hard about it. After all, it is just cross stitches. So looking forward to going back to doing the cross stitch with the parking method. Now, one of my lovely subscribers, I'm not going to mention her name because I haven't asked permission to mention her name, mentioned to me that a way to get rid of the columns, as I showed you before, the columns in the design that appear from doing the tent stitching, was to put a WIP stitch through the back where the ditch forms. And I did try it, and to be honest, maybe I didn't do it right, but I don't really feel that it's made any difference. This front section wasn't affected because this was done with normal tent stitch first, without the continental. And I did do it for, let's have a look. I did it for a couple of rows here, and I mean, maybe it's made a slight difference. Maybe I needed to WIP stitch it a little bit more fastidiously, do the WIP stitch a little bit closer than I did. I don't know. I'd love to hear from any of you that have WIP stitched the back and whether you have felt it made a difference in removing those columns or not. Either way, you know, I'm just going to continue with how I'm going, and I think it will probably just be best if the whole design looks this way. Yeah, so anyway, at this point I have nearly 31.5% progress through the design, with a total of 23,392 stitches. That's a lot. And they're half stitches. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this month because I'm quite confident that I shall get to see some of her face this month. Hopefully. It's quite a few columns away, but we'll see how we go. But it would be nice to see some finer details in this particular design. Okay, next WIP. WIP number 4 is My Motherly Devotion by Jayne, Netley, Mayhew, and I'll insert a picture of the last time you saw it here. And this is where I'm up to now. Aren't they beautiful? I just cannot get over how realistic Jayne's designs are. As a reminder, this is stitched on 28 count Lugana called Clouds, and it's from Colour Cascade Fabrics. I wanted something that would give a very realistic outdoor appearance, and I'm very happy that I have chosen the fabric that I thought would achieve that. So I was getting a little bit frustrated in my progress with this one because of all the confetti. There is so much confetti in this. Because there's no back stitching, obviously confetti is needed to give the detail. So I parked it. I decided to do the parking, and it worked so much quicker. So much quicker, and because I love parking, it became so much more enjoyable. So really loving it. My little guy there no longer looks like a kangaroo, because kangaroos don't have horns on the top of their head. But it's just so adorable. So I still have left to do the baby giraffe's neck, and the rest of Mum, she comes up here. So hopefully not too much longer with this one. And I'm pretty certain that I will also be stitching the other Jayne, Netley, Mayhew giraffe design from the book that the lovely Letitia, hi Letitia, from the Crafty Curator that she showed in her video. And also Jessie Marie, who also purchased the book. Hi Jessie. I'm pretty certain that, because I did find both of those giraffe designs from Jayne, and had trouble deciding which one I really wanted to do, but I fell in love with the baby giraffe, so which is why I chose this one. But I still really love the other design, and I thought, hey, I've enjoyed stitching this one, why not do both? So I think I shall be doing that one, not next, but it is on the wish list. Okay, so WIP number 5. Yes, I have 5 main WIPs now. Most months only have 4 weeks, as you know, so this one will only be worked on the months where there are 5 weeks in the month, and because I need it by November, pretty sure I've allocated enough time to get it finished anyway. This is Baby Birth Sampler by Vervaco, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. This is the finished design here. I did show it in my last video, and obviously I'm doing the little girl one down the bottom there. I swapped out the material in the kit. It came with 14 count ivory Ada, and I swapped it out for 32 count ivory Lugana. And this is how much I have done. Excuse my parked threads there. And as you can see, this is a sepia design. And it is a little bit boring with all the browns, but I've done the majority of the dark colours now. There's just a little bit of the darkness to go in the baby's head there. You can see the back of the baby's head. And then I've got the whole teddy to do, so I'm sure I'll probably be sick of the light colours by the time he's finished. But it was nice to get a little bit of pink in there. I did that last night. And that shouldn't take too much longer to do. I've started parking this one as well. I didn't when I began, but just finding parking so much quicker. So now I'm starting to add it to all my WIPs. And love the little baby's arm here and the hand. This is just the shadow. The hand itself is going to be coming around much lighter. But really, really cute design. And it's funny how when I look at the actual picture on the kit, the colours look quite different stitched up. This colour in particular, where the arm is, actually looks quite green when I'm stitching it. But then as I'm seeing it on the video, or when I stand back and look at it, quite clearly it is a shadow and it all makes sense. Okay, so that's it for the WIPs. I had a new start in July, which is also a finish and an FFO, and that was my July Cottage from Country Cottage Needleworks Cottage of the Month series, and it's all finished into my cubes that I'm doing each month. Really enjoyed stitching this one. Really love having something American in my house to remind me of how much fun we had when we travelled over there, and can't wait to go back. Be nice to go back for July and watch all those fireworks. So I had 2 choices of fabric for this one. You can see I've used the red and white stripe. The first red and white stripe fabric I found was really quite wide, and in the shop it looked fine, but then when I came home and remembered how small this design was, well, I'm only going to see about 3 of those stripes on the back, and I wanted to replicate this flag as much as I could. So I bought that, and then I couldn't find blue ribbon with white stars on it, so I decided to buy some fabric and turn it into a ribbon myself. So I just cut this 2 inches wide and then ironed in ½ an inch on each edge. Easy as. So really, really happy with how that turned out. I think this is my new favourite. Yes, loving that one. I also finished my great niece's christening card, which I can't show you because she now has it, but I will insert a photo of it here. So I'm really happy how that turned out. I've decided that for the cards I'm not really liking the way the linen sits within the card. I think I prefer the Ada because it's stiffer, and I don't know, just doesn't move around as much within the aperture of the card. So anyway, really happy with how that turned out. I liked the little bit of bling that I added to it, and they really liked it too, which is more important. I also started another card for a special friend, and I can't show you that here, but once it's been received, I will show that. And I started another card for a special friend, so it's been a month full of cards. Also can't show you that one. I have just finished it, and it's been washed this morning and ironed, and I'm waiting to turn that into a card. Once again, as soon as that has been received by the recipient, I will show that. My other fully finished object this month is, of course, Blue Dragon, and I'm not going to show that here. I'm sure you've all seen it. I'm sure you're all sick of seeing it, to be honest, but yeah, obviously my most proudest achievement ever as far as cross stitch goes, and so happy to have him home and up on the wall. Oh, and I know that this technically comes under August, but today is the 2nd of August, so I'm going to show it now because I started this yesterday. Is my Country Cottage Needleworks August Cottage. And I've been looking forward to this one. I really like the beach theme of this design. And it's still on my hoop stand, which I'm still loving, by the way. And this is how much I got done. Very pretty blue. So I did that one last night, and I'll work on this one over the course of the month and try and get it finished and achieve an FFO before the end of the month. Okay, I think that's it for my WIPs, finishes and FFOs. Of course, with, you know, the things that I can show you, that is. I have a small haul to add because these particular items hadn't arrived in time for my last haul video, so I'll show them here. I placed an order from Mo's Sale, which I'll link down below. And I got two of the grab bags. Sorry, opening these bags. I got a silk grab bag and a cotton grab bag. So I have, this is all a bit of a mess. These are all my silks. And there's another one there. I have twiddled all of these thanks to D-Stitch's video, which I will link down below as well. And they just look so much nicer when they're twisted like that. So I'm going to put these into individual snap lock bags with a project card and the name of the colour and on there. And then my cottons, I'm not going to go through each of these individual colours unless you particularly want me to. So there was 15 silks in the bag and there's 20 cottons, and I'll just hold all of these up. I started twiddling a few of these. It takes a little bit of time to do that. So these are the ones that I've managed to twiddle. They smell lovely. Such a nice smell to them. And these are all the ones that are still left to be done. So whether I do them or not, I'm not sure. My stitching time is precious, and when I'm not stitching, I'm making videos or I'm editing videos, and haven't really allocated time for twiddling floss. But we'll see. And as well as those from Mo, I also bought a piece of fabric because it looks so pretty, and I bought a piece of 28 count Monaco, 20 by 30 inches, and it was $18, which I thought was really good value. I'll hold it up sideways. And that's it there. I just really like pink fabric. Looks a little bit muskier than it's showing up there. I must have bad light today. Normally this is quite a good room to show off the colours. But it's a little bit more of a dusty pink. I've got something white. I haven't got anything white. Put it next to something cream. Yeah, you can see it there. More of a dusty pink all over. Really lovely colour. So I think that will probably go towards a Mirabilia design. Something similar, who knows. As well as that, I bought, due to constant peer group pressure and the enabling of fellow Flosstubers, I bought Joan Elliott's Bewitching cross stitch book. Love, 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 love this. Love Joan Elliott designs. I have started doing a video of my review of the book with photographs, and I'm just waiting to hear back from Joan just to make sure that I am allowed to do that, because I don't know, with all this copyright stuff lately, I just want to make sure that I'm not going to get into any trouble by showing the pictures, because she does own the rights to the pictures, and I want to show everyone the entire book. So we'll see what happens with that. Keep your fingers crossed, because I have quite a few books coming that I want to do the same thing with, and I don't want to just throw it into one of these videos. I want to do a specific video on it. So the next thing I bought from my local op shop is called the Complete Stitch Encyclopedia by Eaton, and it contains 449 different stitches which are illustrated in colour. That's the book there. Sorry about the glare. And I just have to say, for all you book lovers out there, do you get as excited as I do when you take off the dust cover and the book underneath is exactly the same? I get really excited about that. Don't like to see just plain covers. Okay, so this is a manual. So it's basically a stitch encyclopedia for all the different stitch techniques out there. For an example of one of the pages. So all the pages in here look like this. And they show you how to perform all the stitches, and before each illustration is a listing showing what the stitch is used for and how to perform the stitch and what other stitches you can do to replace that stitch. So like the alternative names for the stitch as well. And all the stitches are grouped according to their type of stitch. And they're also placed in order of difficulty. So there is a star system, like you can see at the top here, 2 stars. So obviously 1 being more difficult and 3 being the hardest. So this is a really, really lovely book. This cost me $4. Couldn't pass it up. That you just never know when you're going to need it. At the back of the book is a whole heap of canvas stitches. I'm showing it with ribbon. It's fantastic. So these are the daisy stitch. I know that's been mentioned a fair bit lately. Yeah, so just a great little encyclopedia to have to refer to should I wish to go down the track of doing some specialty stitches. You know, never say never. Okay, I'm just going to add on a couple of tag videos to the end of this. First of all, the Joy of Cross Stitch tag by Cat Crazy Creations. I have a list of questions down here, so please excuse me for looking down. Question number 1, how did you learn to stitch? Well, I don't think I've ever answered this question, although I think it was on one of the questions way back. Slightly lengthy answer, so I'm sorry. When I was in high school, my best friend's mum did tapestry at the time, and I used to go over to her house after school every day, and her mum was working on a clown tapestry, and it's the crying clown, Pierrot clown, I think it's called. Don't know if I've pronounced that correctly. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed going to her house every afternoon and not only watching her mum stitch this clown, but seeing the progress that she made each day, and I was completely fascinated by it. And obviously years later, I decided that I wanted to learn how to do tapestry. I had never forgotten watching my friend's mum stitched that design and decided that that was something I really wanted to learn how to do. So I went to my local Needleworks store at the time, which wasn't very local, but it was the closest one to me. And I walked in and I said to the lady that I wanted to learn how to do tapestry. And she asked me if I'd ever stitched anything before. And I said no. And so she sent me home with a long stitch kit. And she said, I suggest you start with this and get familiar with it, and once you are, come back. So I did the long stitch kit, and it was a typical country scene. It was circular in design, and I think there was sheep on it and a house. And actually I enjoyed it, and I did 2, maybe 3 of those before I then headed back to the store, and I said, okay, I've done that, I'm familiar with that now. And then she said, okay, next step is cross stitch. So instead of purchasing a kit, for some reason I purchased a chart, which was the backyard swing design, which I have shown you, and I kitted it all up, took it home and started stitching it, and I got hooked. I never ventured to tapestry. I actually have lost the desire to want to learn to do tapestry. I'm completely happy with cross stitch. So yeah, in a roundabout way, that's how I ventured into cross stitching. Question number 2, have you ever taught anyone how to stitch? Yes, I've taught my daughter, and although she hasn't done any for a very long time because she now has a job and a boyfriend and quite a busy life, quite a busy social life, so she doesn't really get time to stitch, but yes, I have taught her. Number 3, when you stitch, do you like to watch TV, listen to music, or just have quiet? I like to sit in our home theatre, lounge room, with the family watching TV. Obviously, I only look up every now and again. I concentrate mainly on my stitching, but I just love having them around me, and we all seem to enjoy being in the same room, watching a movie that we've all agreed on, and I get more enjoyment out of that. I've never actually listened to music while I stitch, so my second choice is watching YouTube, in particular Flosstube. I don't watch any other YouTube channels. So when my husband is watching his American TV shows, the ones that I'm getting slightly sick of, I put the headphones in and I watch Flosstube while I stitch. Number 4, when you use a kit, which company or companies do you like the best? I've only really had experience with Dimensions. I do like in particular their gold collection kits. Last year or the year before, I think it was the year before, I started one of the petite series, and they're lovely. The charts aren't the best. They're like just their use of colours. I would prefer either a black and white chart or a full colour chart, not that in between with the pink and the blue, and yeah. But anyway, their designs just stitch up beautifully, so yeah, Dimensions is my choice. Number 5, what are your favourite designs to stitch? I like pretty much anything and everything. A lot of things I'm drawn to because I can relate to them. So I like places where I've travelled to. I will see something and it will remind me of having travelled there. So of course I would like to stitch that. I love animals. Have always loved animals. So again, I find them enjoyable to stitch. Anything with nice colours, really. If I look at a design and I think, yeah, I think I would enjoy stitching that, that's basically how I choose something. So what are my favourite designs? I like houses, in particular, cottages, I think you all know that. Animals, I'd have to say animals, I've got a few now. I've got leopard and I'm doing giraffes, I've done macaws. I have an Arnott's parrot to do because I used to work for Arnott's. Yeah. Fantasy, I like fantasy type designs. And the TV characters, they really appeal to me. Having, you know, stitching up my favourite TV shows, although I haven't done any yet, but I would like to do that. Number 6, how do you get ideas or inspiration for your projects? Flosstube, mainly. Seeing what everyone else is stitching or what they've purchased, really, when someone shows that they've bought something and then, oh, yes, I'd like to stitch that, so then I have to go and buy it. Also, Instagram is great for inspiration. Facebook, probably not so much for me because I just have really had a lack of time to get on Facebook lately. Just been swamped under with YouTube and Instagram. Same as Pinterest. I use Pinterest as a board to keep my ideas as opposed to really going to search for ideas. So yeah, Flosstube's the #1 inspiration for me. Number 7, how do you store or keep your charts? I keep my charts in magazine holders. I've got 3 of hard plastic magazine holders and I have them in alphabetical order, and I have one separate for Paula Vaughan designs because I used to collect her charts, so I have more of hers than anything else. I also keep, they're like the leaflet type charts. All the magazines I have on the bottom shelf of my walk-in storeroom. Any digital printouts that I have printed I keep in a folder. Others are on my in my Dropbox or on my Goodreader app. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Number 8, do you stitch for yourself or to give to others? I do both. I get just as much enjoyment stitching for others as I do for myself. I will only stitch for others that I know will appreciate the time that I have put in, the effort and the money. I think that's why I enjoy making cards, because everyone loves a card, and if that was to be thrown away, it's not too big a deal. You know, I don't expect people to hold on to cards forever, but stitching up a big design and framing it for someone and, you know, all the cost involved, I have to know that they're going to really appreciate that before I will consider that. Number 9, when you take your cross-stitch projects in the car to appointments or travelling, how do you carry all your supplies? I used to take a little soft bag with me with all the little compartments in it. It just felt a bit odd carrying that around. So now I just take, and this is typically what I house my WIPs in, not the actual fabric, but everything else. So I've got my project card on the front. I have all my extra threads, so I have everything on bobbins as well, which I go to first, but these are the extra skeins. And I have a copy of my design and chart if I'm using the paper chart. Otherwise I will take my iPad with me as well. And if it's a card that's on a hoop and it's a smaller project, I just have a smaller one of these. And yeah, they're really, sorry for the glare, they're really handy. And some, you know, pop the hoop in there as well with the fabric on it. So I only really take my stitching to the hairdresser haven't really taken it anywhere else recently. So if I was to go on a plane, I would definitely put it in something more like a bag. Number 10, what do you enjoy most about stitching? I enjoy two things. One is the therapeutic benefit. I mentioned before, I have quite a stressful life, running 2 businesses, running 3 kids, that includes the hubby, you know, 3 animals, just day-to-day life stresses. And at the end of the day, I turn to my cross stitch, and everything that's happened that day is gone. It's, you know, I'm concentrating on that chart, concentrating on what I'm doing, and just thoroughly enjoying it. And none of those thoughts creep into my head about what happened that day or what I have to deal with tomorrow. I can just absorb myself into what I'm doing, and I love that, because there's nothing else in my life that I can do that with. The second thing I love about cross stitching is I can't draw, I can't paint, I can do other types of craft, but to me cross stitch is my form of artwork, and I can replicate a picture that I love, and starting with that blank piece of fabric, putting those first few stitches in, and then watching it come to life. It's fantastic. And at the moment and I hope to still do it, but I'm taking daily progress shots and putting it on Instagram. And that's also for my benefit, because I can look back each day and say, wow, I did that much today, or, you know, I did that much since last month. And it's just so enjoyable, because there are times when you sit and stitch and you think, oh, I really haven't done anything. It doesn't look like I've done anything. But when you go back and look at a previous photo, it then is obvious that, oh, actually I did do quite a bit. It just didn't seem like it. So yes, they're the 2 things that I love most about cross stitching. So thank you very much for your questions. Cat Crazy Creations, I don't know your actual name. I have to sit down and watch all your videos and try and catch up, but thank you for your questions. Okay, so the next tag is by Shari Burkett. Shari Burkett, the Flosstuber tag. I've just had to pause your video so I can answer the questions. So first question is, what apps do you find most helpful for cross stitching? I love apps for cross stitching. The app that I use the most would be my cross stitch app, which is this one right here. And I have done a tutorial video on that one, and that app enables me to keep a record of everything in my stash, my charts, my fabric, my threads, everything except my beads, which would be really great if they added that to their list, which I'm sure they probably will eventually. As well as all my projects, so anything that's on my wish list, anything that's kitted up, started, finished. I can make notes for everything. I call that my cross stitch Bible. That has all my information on it, which is fantastic. Absolutely love that app. As well as that, I have the cross stitch calculator app, which I highly recommend, which is that little one there. Shari shows that on her video also, and that enables you to work out how much fabric you need for a particular design by putting in the stitch count and what fabric count that you're using, and it will automatically determine how big a piece of fabric you need. So they're probably my 2 most commonly used apps for cross stitch. And her second question is, what program do you use to create your videos on Flosstube? I actually have a Mac computer, so I use iMovie, which I love. It's a very easy to use program. I wasn't really sure how to use it to begin with, but a quick Google search, there are plenty of tutorials out there on how to edit and add music, add photos, all that sort of thing, and it's pretty much just play around with it until you find something that you like. I actually don't have a Windows computer at all. I love my Mac products, so I love my Apple products, I should say. And yeah, I make my movies with iMovie. So thank you for your 2 questions, Shari. Sorry that probably wasn't able to help you very much because you're looking for a Windows 8 program, but I'm sure you'll get many more responses from others that will be able to help you with that. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, so sorry, hope this hasn't been too long a video for you to watch. I want to thank you all again for liking, commenting and subscribing, and welcome to all my new subscribers. Cannot believe these numbers just keep ticking over. It's amazing. So incredibly happy to be part of this amazing community, and I'm humbled on a daily basis by the comments and the referrals and everything that you guys put out there for me. It's I don't really understand it, but anyway, I love being part of this amazing group, and I'd like to thank you all again for watching, and take care, look after one another, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye for now.